What's up, family? Get this video a big thumbs up. We just having a conversation as usual. But just to give some insight, White House press secretary under the Biden administration, Karine Jean-Pierre, was being held accountable by the White House press when it comes to being hypocritical, just like her boss, Joe Biden. When it comes to Biden saying he would not pardon his son, and then no one's above the law and then stands on this high moral ground, then Joe Biden ended up giving his son a pardon. While Karine Jean-Pierre said Biden will never pardon his son because her job is to cover up for her boss speaking on his behalf. But just to recall everyone's memory, check out the video. She said the same thing Joe Biden said about not pardoning his son. Check this out, family.
And you've also said several times that the president would not pardon or commute the sentences for his son, Hunter. I just want to make sure that that is not going to change over the next 6 months. The president's saying he would not.
It's still a no. It's still a no.
It will always be a no.
It's still a no. It will be a no. It is a no, and I don't have anything else to add. Will he pardon his son? No.
Now that we have the context, the White House press finally decided to hold her accountable for the lie her and her boss, Joe Biden, spewed. So check this out.
Into hypotheticals from here.
And then a different part of the question. In your first briefing here, as press secretary, you committed to speaking to the American people, and I quote, in a transparent way, in a truthful way, and an honest way.
Yes.
And then in July, here at this podium,
Yeah.
you were asked about the president pardoning his son, and he said, it's a no, it will be a no, it's a no.
Yes. And that is
So
exactly
clearly
right.
the case of the president's son and that pardon,
Yeah.
it became a yes.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if you would like to explain to us, the American people, really why the information that you provided turned out not to be true.
And I answered this question on Monday. We spent about 30 minutes on this, almost 30 minutes, roughly 30 minutes on this particular issue. And I'm just going to reiterate what I said on Air Force One to your colleagues when I did the gaggle. And look, if you look at his statement, it's pretty comprehensive. The statement that he put out on Sunday when he made this decision to pardon his son, Hunter Biden.
Now we're going to pause for a second. Now, as we are seeing her being called out on her lies, unfortunately, she is stuck between a rock and a hard place from her boss, obviously. And just like her boss, Joe Biden, put in the hard working class American people in a hard place where this holiday season people are stuck between groceries or holiday spending because individually they cannot spend as they used to within the fine lines of their normal culturalistic spending. In short, basically people cannot spend their money like they used to, or their monies cannot stretch long enough until next pay. So considering this holiday season, the season of giving, even though the sentiment has enormously turned out to be remixed, the whole meaning of it being materialistic instead of spending time and catching up with family in a time of the year where you may not spend as much time during the year with family because we all have busy lives. But you get my point, right? This Biden administration not only doesn't have the best interests of the American people, but not even their own employees, right? So this Secretary Karine can't be honest about what happened. So since she has to always cover for her boss as her job, she cannot admit that Joe Biden was wrong and he lied. And from taunting that they were going to be the most transparent administration, then on the other hand, are hypocrites lying to the American people. So she has to move the goalposts because anybody that does one thing and say another is a liar. So anything you say isn't believable, right? So what is the famous tactic or the famous move of the Democratic establishment as a whole? Well, they like to blame Republicans, family. So with no further ado, check this out. I want you guys to check this out.
He believes in the justice system. He believes the facts are. Obviously, I talked about the gun charges, what legal experts have said. Former prosecutors have all agreed virtually no one would be criminally prosecuted for underlying factors of Hunter's case. I talked about the gun charges. I talked about the taxes, the tax cases. And there are other factors here, what Republicans have said. as they weren't going to let up. I talked about the upcoming sentencing and what Hunter and his family have been through. I talked about the appointees by the incoming president on law enforcement positions, and he wrestled with it. He did. And I also talked about what Jim Clyburn said. So you're asking me about an apology, but Jim Clyburn said himself in a conversation that he had with the president just 2 weeks ago, the president said, the president was reticent when he encouraged the.
Okay, so she blames the Republicans, basically saying they were out to punish Hunter Biden. But in our reality, accountability and truth is what Republicans seek after. So you know that transparency that they were once saying this whole Biden administration was about, being honest with the American people, about that lies. So this Democratic Party can hold Trump accountable, but the Democratic Party will not hold themselves accountable. So all in all, to validate Joe Biden lies is to blame Trump to make sense of their lies of why he went through with the pardon. Got it? Now, not only did we hear her give a valid point on behalf of Joe Biden's actions and went into the Victim Olympics to substantiate her point when being held accountable, because in their eyes, this is a valid point in which she's saying by going into the Victim Olympics and blaming the Republicans is valid to them, even though it's nonsense, but they won't hold themselves accountable for their lies. We know that. So she goes even disgustingly further by saying Joe Biden's credibility isn't all in all lost. Neither is his legacy. I find that very interesting, family, and I want you guys to check this out.
This question I just didn't hear an answer. The next time that the president says he will or won't do something, why should the American people believe him?
I answered that question. I don't have anything else to add.
What is your answer?
I answered the question.
Can you explain it in a way that's understandable?
I can't speak to you understanding the question or not, or my answer or not on this. I don't have anything else to say. I'm not going to relitigate this. I did that on Monday for 30 minutes. I went back and forth. I laid out. I said, please read the president's.
Let me skip ahead, family. Give me a second. Here we go.
Except the president justice. Just to understand, he said in part, I believe in the justice system, but as I have wrestled with this, I also believe raw politics has infected this process and it led to a miscarriage of justice. Just to understand that sentence, I think it's important.
Yeah,
Is it
sure.
that the president believes in the justice system, except in some cases?
He believes in the justice system. He believes the facts are. Obviously, I talked about the gun charges, what legal experts have said. Former prosecutors have all agreed virtually no one would be criminally prosecuted for underlying factors of Hunter's case. I talked about the gun charges. I talked about the taxes, the tax cases. And there are other factors here, what Republicans have said. As they weren't going to let up. I talked about the upcoming sentencing and what Hunter and his family have been through. I talked about the appointees by the incoming president on law enforcement positions, and he wrestled with it. He did. And I also talked about what Jim Clyburn said. So you're asking me about an apology, but Jim Clyburn said himself in a conversation that he had with the president just 2 weeks ago, the president said, the president was reticent when he encouraged the president, when he himself, Jim Clyburn, encouraged the president to move forward with it. Congressman Clyburn, the president, responded to him by saying he was reticent. And so this was not an easy decision. It wasn't. It wasn't an easy decision. It was a lot of circumstances here. And we can't pass over what legal experts and former U.S. attorneys have said on this, and across the country, they've all basically agreed virtually, no one would be criminally prosecuted with felony offenses with these facts. And I have gone through the two important underlying facts of the cases. And, I just don't have anything beyond that to add or to say. I've laid out our thought process. The president has laid out his thought process.
Okay, you guys seen that. So I want you guys to hear this.
There have been, we've heard quotes and support from many elected officials. I just mentioned Jim Clyburn. There was Senator Dick Durbin. He said it's a right given to the president, a power given to him under the Constitution, and Joe Biden is using it in a very humane way. I think Hunter Biden has been exploited for political purposes.
This is about his legacy.
It's not the first time. It won't be the last time in American history, but I can certainly understand Joe Biden standing up and saying that he wants to protect his son. Nancy Pelosi, when she was asked about this particular issue, she said, I support the president. Representative Jasmine Crockett, I think that it was the right move. And there's been others who have, in the Democratic Party, part of the leadership, and others who have supported this president in his decision.
Well, family, the point I'm making, as you guys have seen that, so basically she came to work speaking on the behalf of her boss, where she has to go into the Victim Olympics while keeping up her composure to not get mad at the press for holding her accountable, as she taps into her delusion in her mind that she makes sense. But polls have already shown that Joe Biden will be one of the worst presidents in history. My man Joe Biden's legacy is already in the trash, in my opinion, as he cover up the crimes of the Biden family, which I believe he will pardon his brother Jim Biden next. But she goes into the state of the American people and his legacy, as you guys have seen, right? But I find that very interesting because she continues to put herself in the mire besides Joe Biden, as she thinks that the Americans trust the justice system, and you think we're dumb and not believing or not seeing. Actually, it's not about belief; it's about seeing that the Department of Justice system is politicized and corrupt. So, how can you trust in a system like that? And the way I believe most people look at it, and how I'm looking at things, is with the Hunter Biden case in the justice system, is at some point Hunter Biden was target for crimes, but not truly to help be held accountable when it comes to prosecution. So I believe they weren't truly trying to genuinely hold Hunter Biden accountable for these crimes. For example, they were truly going after Trump because they wanted to prosecute him bad in any way possible to be held accountable, and failed miserably. They weren't prosecuting to the fullest extent of the law, honing in on real deep crimes when it came to Hunter Biden. So I see it as a way that the Democrats in the justice system is trying to save face, and they have made it like they're going to save Hunter Biden now, going into the Victim Olympics because Trump is going to go after him type of nonsense. So they're just saving face from failing miserably, from trying to prosecute and target Trump, but making it like to the American people so they don't lose trust into the American people when it comes to the Department of Justice, on how biased they are working with the Democrats as a form of weaponization to their political opponent, Donald Trump. So they have to make it as though they're saving Hunter Biden, so the American people don't fully lose trust in the justice system when it already has been politicized. So she's trying to make it like people haven't lost trust into the justice system, and that Joe Biden legacy isn't tarnished when it is. Crazy, man. But let me know you guys' thoughts down in the comments below. I hope you guys got where I was coming from and got my drift. But on that note, family, love you guys. Peace.